وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا إمام المتقين ورحمة الله وبركاته. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. It's one of those nights where you're always kept in confusion, where you don't know where to begin when speaking about this personality. On the night that Imam Ali finished burying Sayyidah Fatima, it is narrated that he passed by the grave of Rasulullah. And he said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. He said, as for your amanat, I've returned it back to you. And your treasure is buried within the same ground. And now she is with you, so you can ask her, what has happened to your ummah? She will tell you what has happened. As for me, I will remain patient, and my sadness will stay drenched between my heart until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses that day where I meet you again. So if you want to begin with the greatness of this man, of who he is, it's enough for us to see that the imams themselves, they put themselves in a position of humility to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, where they are the guides of the people. It is narrated that Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, who is known for his worship, he is called the decorator of worshippers, from how much sujood he does and how he stands up in the night. Meanwhile, it is narrated that one of his companions heard him and he said, أين عبادتنا من عبادة أمير المؤمنين? Where is our ibadat from the ibadah of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib? That means Imam Zayn al-Abidin, when he compares himself to Ali, he says, I'm nothing. So if the imams talk about this personality this way, what do we have to say? If there's anything left for us to say. Because one time it's narrated a person went to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq and he called him Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq stood up and he said, how dare you call me with that title? This title, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reserved it for only one person, and that is Ali ibn Abi Talib. And the more you look and the more you ponder on the hadiths, the more you will notice who this personality is. So for example, very common hadith that we all know, we celebrate Eid al-Ghadir because of one phrase, Man kuntu mawlah fahada aliyun mawlah. Correct? This is the phrase that we hold. It is unfortunate for us, again, because we became reactive to the other schools of thought. We decided, well, is he first, is he fourth? And then we got stuck into this school of the Khilafah, for example. And we limited Ali ibn Abi Talib to this. Ponder upon this hadith. So at least you may find one or two statuses of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The Prophet says, Man kuntu mawla, whoever I am the master of. Question. Who is Muhammad the master of? Is he not the master of the sun? Is he not the master of the moon? Is he not the master of the solar system? Is he not the master of the whole world and everything that's in creation? Yes. Correct? If I am the master of all of this, then Ali is also the master. We limited it to This is what Ali ibn Abi Talib said when he took off his slippers in front of his companions, and he said, how much are these slippers worth? He said, it's not worth anything. He said, no, give me a number. He said, daniqul. That means not even a penny. He said, wallahi, this imara that you've given me, this chair, right, this slipper is worth more than that. And we made it revolve around us. Is he first? Is he fourth? Did you give the... This was going to be for a limited time and it goes away. What state of Ali ibn Abi Talib? This is the thing that we feel sorry for the most. Do you know all of the ahadith that we have? In Nahj al-Balagha, for example. All of those were written when? All of these sayings and sermons about Tawheed, about Qiyamah, about who Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is, was only in his 4 years of Khilafah. Nothing in Nahj al-Balagha was written before that. All of these things were just in these 4 years. What happened in these 4 years? The Battle of Siffin, the Battle of Jamal, the Battle of Nahrawan. They did not let him sit. Yet, we still have that treasure. What we feel sorry for the most is that we could have had 25 years of this. Meanwhile, we only had 4. The knowledge that we would have gained. What Islam missed out upon. Do you know there was a person... Now he's in prison because Saudi Arabia, that's what they do. From the Salafi school. His name is Hassan Farhan Malik. And he said something very interesting. He said, I went to look into Nahj al-Balagha. And just for one thing, I noticed that the Quran always speaks about the mind. Always speaks about tafakkur. Always speaks about the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always praises Rasulullah. In our books, and he specializes in the hadith of the Sunni books. He said, our books don't have one hadith about aql. Nothing. Okay? However, we see that in these books, the aql is dissected completely from the Quran. So he said, this is something that we actually need. And this is very, very important because in Al-Kafi, it says, the first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created was the mind. And from the mind, He put all of the knowledge in there. He gave 99% of that knowledge to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and 1% to the rest of His creation. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And Ali ibn Abi Talib says, Prophet Muhammad did not learn anything until he taught me first. This is why Prophet Muhammad says, Ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha. I am the city of knowledge and Ali is its gate. Whoever wants the city must enter through its gate. So you have a personality like this, without a doubt, the most knowledgeable person after the Prophet ﷺ. To the extent where there was no position that you can be stuck on where you just go to Ali ibn Abi Talib and he would solve it. And this is with the witness of the Khulafa that took his rights away from him. They witnessed to that. So one time, they got to a point, even the companions, they said, we want to ask Imam Ali a question in which he cannot answer. Because we got tired of every time asking answers. So it's like, let's ask him something very vague in which we can actually object. So if he were to answer, we're going to give an objection. So they were thinking, they said, okay, let's ask him what is the strongest thing Allah created. And whatever he says, we're pretty sure that there's going to be something stronger, and we're going to say that's stronger. While they're discussing this plan, Ali ibn Abi Talib passes by. And he said, what is it that you were discussing? And he said, we have a question for you. So what is the strongest thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created? Automatically, Ali ibn Abi Talib says the strongest thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created are 10. He brings up 10 things. The mountains. And metal breaks the mountains. You take a sword, you take an axe, you break the mountains with it. And fire melts the metal. And water extinguishes fire. And the clouds carry the water. And the wind moves the clouds. And Bani Adam, the human beings, they move against the wind. And intoxication overtakes the son of Adam. And sleep takes over his intoxication. And worry takes over his sleep. The strongest thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created is your worry. So when you cannot sleep at night because you're worried about something. And the only reason why you're worried about something is because of lack of tawakkul. Because you have no faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will solve this. And that lack of faith, this is where it ends up. Ali ibn Abi Talib was known for this. So one time a person was, during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, one of the companions, he was very angry at them. Ali ibn Abi Talib, I said, why are you angry? He said, this person is no longer Muslim. He said, why? What did he say? He said, I knocked the door in his house today, and he says, I woke up loving fitna. And I pray without wudu. And I have in this earth what Allah doesn't have in the sky. So he didn't say anything wrong. He said, what do you mean? He said, he woke up loving fitna, and the Quran says, right? Your children and your money and your children are fitna. And he loves his money and he loves his children. And he prays without wudu. He does salah without wudu. Yeah, he says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And he says he has in this earth what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have in the heavens. He has a wife and kids, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have wife and kids. What wrong is in there? This is just as far as his knowledge is concerned. Now, as far as his humility is concerned, this is what, when you see somebody that ranked up in the ranks as far as war is concerned, like his wars with Rasulullah are beyond measure. Where it's, if we had 1% of what he did, nobody would blame us for being arrogant. No one. For killing Amr ibn Wud, for opening up the door of Khaybar, for standing with Rasulullah, for in Badr alone killed 35 people. The total amount of deaths in Badr were 70. 35 were killed by the sword of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So you want to have, no one would blame you for having a slight bit of arrogance. However, one time, there was little kids playing, and one kid, he's on to the side, he's crying. He said, what's wrong? He said, nothing's wrong. He said, do you not have like a toy to play with? That's why you're not playing with them? He said, no. But he said, this group of people, they are proud of their fathers. And my father passed away. I'm an orphan. I don't have anybody. So Ali ibn Abi Talib says, I'm your father. Come. And he said, my name is Ali and this is my son. Please play with him. When this boy started to have pride. He said, who is like me that Ali ibn Abi Talib is my father? One time, when he was walking, there was a woman that, while she was walking, she said, may Allah curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib heard her. He said, why? He said, I have 3 kids. And my husband, he fought in the war. And he died. And I have nothing to feed my kids just because of Ali. You know what, Mama Ali? He said, where's your house? Let me go. He went there. He said, is there food in the house? He said, we don't have any. He told Kambar. He said, Kambar, go get me some food. Yeah, get everything over here. He went to her. And he said, should I cook and you play with the kids, or I play with the kids and you cook? She said, you turn on the fire for me and then take care of the kids. Ali ibn Abi Talib turns on the oven, turns on the fire. And then he goes to the kids. Ambar narrates that he put himself, Ali ibn Abi Talib, to a level where he was crawling and pretending that he was a sheep just so that they could laugh. Ambar was amused. He said, is this Ali ibn Abi Talib? When the food was ready, he put it together and he gave it to the kids and he said, eat this and say this, oh Allah, forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib. When he left, Kambar said, why did you go down like this? And you were making these noises. He said, did you not see how his mother and these kids were crying before? And now they're laughing. And I wanted to make them laugh. Ali ibn Abi Talib used to say, nothing strikes my heart more than a tear of an orphan. Where that would move him. And he put that always, at the moment that he got his khilafah. He refused to eat except for a very, very dry piece of bread. He refused to wear any new clothing. He said, now that I have entered you as a leader, he He said, you can bear witness for me in the day of judgment if I come out of this world without something other than these clothing that I'm wearing. It's narrated one time a person went to Imam Ali and said, I'm hungry, I need some food. So Imam Ali said, come eat with me. So he comes in, opens up. The bread that Imam Ali used to eat was so dry that this person, when he tried to eat it, he noticed that his teeth were going to break. He said, I can't eat this. Imam Ali looked at him, he noticed that, he's not used to this type of food. So he said, listen, looks like this food is not for you. He said, I'm going to take you to a house. I'm going to show you, give you directions to a house. Go over there. They have exactly what you need. So he went, he took the directions, he went inside this house. There was a man over there that greeted him. And he said, I'm hungry. He said, come here. Over there was a table spread of food. And this person was eating, and he used to take on the side, he used to put food on the side. The man asked, he said, what are you doing? We have more of this food, don't worry. He said, no, I'm saving this because there's a man that's more hungry than me right now. I want to go give it to him. He only has a piece of bread that's very, very dry, that he cannot even chew. So that person, he said, leave your food alone and eat. That person is my father. Imam Hussain knew the type of person Ali ibn Abi Talib is. And this is why when you look at the sayings of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you always notice a very sad tone. Like a person that's very angry. And he's just settling it. You don't experience, for example, joyous speech from his words or from his du'as because of how the world betrayed him. This is why Ali used to say, the world put me down and put me down and put me down until they said Ali and Muawiyah. I have to be compared to garbage like this now, and this is where we live. Until this day, 1500 years later, and we're sitting down, who's better, Ali or Muawiyah? Shame on us as an ummah. Right. It said around this time, where Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he was in the house of Kulthum. And as soon as Maghrib came in, Kulthum made iftar. The iftar was a piece of bread, some salt, and some milk. She went and she served it to the Imam. The Imam looked at it. And he said, oh my daughter, when have you seen your father sit down at a table that has more than 2 ingredients? Lift one of these. So she wanted to lift the salt. So he said, no, the salt, and take away the milk. So he had a little bit of bread, a little bit of salt. After his iftar, صَلَّى لِرَبِّهِ رَكَعَاتٍ. He prayed a couple of raka'at. And those raka'at, and the Imam used to look into the sky, and he said, Hiya Allah. He said, this is the night that Rasulullah has promised me. He went to Kulthum and he said, oh my daughter, this heart has never feared anything in its life. Not once in any war or in front of any opponent did this heart ever shake. But today, I feel like my heart is a little bit different. It seems like the fear of death has overtaken me. It said that Ali ibn Abi Talib, towards the night, he prayed, finished his night prayers. He went to sleep for a little bit. When he went to sleep, he woke up from the sleep and he went to his daughter again. And he said, it seems like I am leaving very soon. So Kulthum says, why? She said, I just saw Rasulullah in my dream. And he said, you are going to be our guest in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, he gets ready towards Fajr prayers. This is the time, when you know that you are going towards death. Over here, Kulthum narrates that Ali ibn Abi Talib kept saying these words, Allahumma barik li fil maut. Oh Allah, create blessing in my death. He says when he was getting ready to leave, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, he goes, this is the person that opened the door of Khaybar. He tries to go open up the door. It's as if the door wanted to refuse to open the door, saying, oh Ali, don't go. He tried to open up the door was not opening. Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib looked at this, and at the same time there were birds coming down trying to pull him away. Ali ibn Abi Talib says, no one's going to take me away from the path that I'm going to go. He says, أشدد حزايمك للموت فإن الموت لاقيك. Fasten your belts to death, because death is going to meet you. Right? Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he starts to give this poetry about himself, right, where he says, fasten your belts to death, because death is going to meet you. And the helmet and the shield on the day of war, yes, it might help you. But the same way time makes you cry, the same way time laughs at you, Ali ibn Abi Talib left. He left, he went towards Masjid al-Kufa. Over here, this is a night like no other night where the whole people of Kufa can feel it. You know why? Because Ali ibn Abi Talib went before Fajr prayers by 10 to 15 minutes. He went on top of the minaret of Masjid al-Kufa, and he starts saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The people of Kufa said, what's going on? Ali ibn Abi Talib is giving the adhan. Ali ibn Abi Talib never gives the adhan in Masjid. There's a person that was prescribed to say the adhan. There must be something going on today. Ali ibn Abi Talib starts going around to the houses around the Masjid al-Kufa. He starts to wake them up, As-salah, As-salah, Ibadallah. Then there were people that are sleeping in the masjid. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib wakes them up one by one. Prayer time, until he saw Abdurrahman ibn Muljam. Abdurrahman ibn Muljam was sleeping on his stomach. Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib, even at this time, never forget to advise somebody. If you have a piece of advice, advise him. He says, Ya hada, O person, right? Do not sleep on your stomach, because it is the sleep of the Satans. It is the sleep of the devils. Sleep on your right side. It is the sleep of the scholars. Sleep on your left side. It is the sleep of those that are wise. Sleep on your back. It is the sleep of the prophets. And if you want, I can tell you, you are going to do today something in which the earth and the heavens will shake from it. Allah. Over here, Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, he looked at the Imam and he left away. Ali ibn Abi Talib did not focus on this. Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib gave the second adhan Salat al-Fajr, and then the Iqamah, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam, he recites the takbirah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Surah al-Fatiha. The second surah, he went down to ruku'. He gets up, Sami' Allahu liman hamidah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Allahu Akbar. First sujood, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih, Allahu Akbar. Over here, Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, he strikes Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. A strike in which Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam comes down and he says, Tahaddamat wallah arkan al-huda. The pillars of guidance has been broken. Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam says something that history records. He says, Fustu wa rabbil Ka'bah. I've been victorious by the Lord of the Kaaba. Over here, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, the person that was born in the Kaaba, the person that dies in a way that he was facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Over here, the Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim and Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam finished the prayers, the Jama'ah prayers. Look at the fiqh of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. The father is struck. He's down. Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam doesn't go to attend to his father. Imam Hassan says, finishes the prayers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and everything else second. وَإِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنقَلِبٍ يَنقَلِبُونَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Brothers and sisters, this is the night of Laylatul Qadr. People that have the power to pray, pray. People that have the power of dua, do dua. Anything, there's a lot of people that have asked me for their prayers. When I ask 5 times, everybody. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amma yujibu المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your desires.
يا حسين
يا حسين
يا حسين
يا حسين
يا